Tesla. You were short Tesla going into yesterday's earnings report. What were you thinking?
You know, I had a great start to the year. The chart looks parabolic. I mean, I kind of cut against my own rules when I said, don't short Elon Musk, and Tesla feels like Bitcoin, right? It's not even it's not a fundamental story anymore. And so any bit of good news was going to shoot it up. I'll give it a couple days, and I'll probably be able to get out of my shirt without that much pain, but it was not a great morning.
You think it's going to back off $650?
It should back off some at one point. Like, things just don't go to the moon. But luckily it was a spiritual position, and it's not going to bankrupt me, but it hurt.
What do you mean it's like Bitcoin?
Bubbles, and there's a Tesla bubble going on. There's no doubt about this as a bubble. Bubbles happen around things that normally change the world. Tesla is amazing. Tesla cars are amazing. He's got all kinds of technology. He's delivering. And so the story's so powerful, it sucks everybody in. It doesn't mean the company's actually worth that much. I mean, the market cap, GDP per car they sell is like $300,000, and it's $6,000 for every other automobile. Like, that doesn't make any sense in the long run. You're not going to grow in fast enough. But it doesn't mean the price can't keep going higher because it's such a great story. That's how bubbles work. And so I got cocky and tried to pick the top of a bubble, and I got a black eye.
So you were short on valuation, but you're not...
No, I was short on the chart and the psychology, and felt like this could have been a blow-off, and I probably should have waited until after earnings, and you probably could have shorted it today for at least a trade. I wasn't going to short it for a long period of time.
You think it's a good company?
I think it's a great company. I have 2 Teslas, and
it's important to establish.
I love them. But I'm a gambler, and sometimes gambling, you burn your hands sometimes.
I should be clear as well, this is not a Galaxy Digital thing. This is in your personal account,
this is my
right?
PA.
Let's pull the lens back a little bit and look at the world at a macro level. What do you like? What don't you like?
Listen, I think, first, we got to get through this virus out of China, and it's getting worse. And so, I remember Paul Jones went on TV when it started. He said, we shouldn't have any risk for 2 weeks. He was right. There's a lot of volatility around how bad this can get. We still don't know. And so, barring that, I think stocks are going to race higher this year. We have a very explosive mix of 5%, budget deficit of fiscal, low rates, the Fed on hold, lots of
central bank liquidity.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. 30-year bonds are trading this close to their all-time lows in an environment that doesn't feel distressed. And so that's telling you there's so much liquidity that people are going for it anywhere. These things end usually with an inflation spike. We don't see that coming. Or when valuation gets to extreme levels, and we're not there yet. And so to me, the charts look like stocks could go parabolic. I look at in Japan and Europe, which are playing catch-up. Nikkei takes out 24,000. It's going to be at 30,000 before you know it. The leaders here in the U.S. continuing to suck in capital, and it almost becomes the same thing. You divorce yourself from valuation.
Stocks were up 24% globally last year. Does parabolic mean another year like that?
Or higher into the election?
Wow. So in your PA, you're long stocks?
I'm long, and I've done it mostly through calls. Volatility is so cheap. If I'm wrong, it's not going to kill me. And so you can buy calls on the NASDAQ, calls on the S&P, calls on the Nikkei, calls on the DAX. And if that story plays out, great. The risk of that is either growth really slows or we get inflation, right? Neither seem, the former may be more likely. You can hedge that. You can pay, CDS credit spreads at 44, 45 basis points over. I still love gold. I still love Bitcoin because we've got too much liquidity around and we're debasing our currency over time with 5% GDP in a good economy. Put that in perspective. Last time we were at 3.5% unemployment and 3% growth, we had a 1.5% budget surplus. That's a 6.5% difference. This is crazy. And so you got to like gold and you got to like Bitcoin.
What brings the party to an end?
Parties usually end with Fed action. And so either inflation finally shows up post-election and the Fed's got to do something, or just valuation runs out. And that, you never know how high it goes.
What about political risk?
I'm sorry?
Political risk?
Listen, there is a risk that Bernie surges. I think you can trade that risk. He surges, market sells off, buy it. I don't think Bernie's going to become the president of the United States. Bernie and Elizabeth, bad for markets. Anyone else, good for markets. In some perverse way, the only person that I think might be bad for markets in the big picture could be Bloomberg, who's the only adult in the room. Because I think Mike Bloomberg, and I don't know, I'm not part of his campaign, when I just think of what a smart businessman would look at and say, we've got unsustainable fiscal and monetary, and so let's raise taxes and tighten the belt a little bit. And so the market probably would love him getting in and then say, wait a minute, the party's over.
Mike, the charts told you to short Tesla. What are the charts telling you to do on Bitcoin? It's up more than 30% year to date.
Listen, Bitcoin had its bubble in 17, and now it has become an asset. It's a weapon in people's portfolio. It is a version of gold. We call it digital gold. And we're putting in plumbing all around the system to allow more and more people to buy it. So it trades trades much, much better. It doesn't trade like we're in a speculative bubble. It's grinding higher. It jumps a little, it recovers. There seems to be a bid under the market. And so I'm thrilled the way it's trading this year. If it hadn't rallied during Iran, if it hadn't rallied during this virus, I'd have been nervous, but it did. And so I'm gaining confidence in the Bitcoin position.
Is Bitcoin the winner-take-all cryptocurrency?
I think Bitcoin is its own lane as digital gold, and by far will have the largest market cap. Listen, gold's got a $9 trillion market cap. The best companies in the world are $1 trillion, right? So store of value has got a unique, there are very few of them, right? There's nothing else like gold. The rest of the periodic table, from silver to copper and everything else, needs a use case. The other cryptocurrencies need a use case, and it's going to be a few years away. 3, 4, 5 years away before you really start seeing the blockchain ecosystem changing the world.
So you are steering clear of those other coins?
Because we're so close, we trade them. We don't have them as our core portfolio. We'll trade them both long and short. We're making big investments in the infrastructure around blockchain. I do think being in venture in this space makes a whole lot of sense. And so, you're seeing private permission blockchains in almost every area of the economy getting started. Some of these are test cases. Some of these are starting to get used. You're seeing on the public blockchain decentralized finance showing up. This is all early stage. Remember, the internet bubble was 1999. We didn't get Facebook and the iPhone and movies until 2005, 6, and 7. And so we're in that gap period, but tons of stuff's being built, and it's an exciting space.
Mike, you mentioned Mike Bloomberg. I want to remind everybody that Mike Bloomberg, of course, is the majority shareholder of Bloomberg LP, and what we discuss here is unaffiliated with his campaign.